My girlfriend suffered from severe depression, and every time she tried to kill herself, I was the one who saved her. But no matter how much I loved her, she was always drawn to another boy with depression, determined to save him at any cost. In my past life, I swallowed my pride and became her support system for saving this guy. I paid for his tuition, covered his father's medical bills, and even found him the best therapist. I watched them walk into the light together, while the agony of it all triggered a mental breakdown in me. I thought she might finally spare me a glance, but instead, I overheard her whispering to the other guy, "Haha, he's so in love with me, he's literally gone insane." Now, I'm back on the day I first met him, and my girlfriend is threatening me with the same ultimatum. If you won't help him, then you can forget about ever being near me again. I laughed so hard tears streamed down my face. You mean there's an upside to this? The first thing I saw in this new life was Chloe, holding some guy's hand and glaring at me. What are you staring at? Are you going to help Leo or not? I just kept staring, looking at the girl in front of me in a total daze before it finally hit me. I'd been given a second chance. Leo, just like Chloe, suffered from depression and was dirt poor, to the point where he could barely afford to eat. He had this tragic, brooding vibe that seemed to be part of his very being, and it completely captivated Chloe, who saw him as a kindred spirit. "I've been through the storm, so I have to be his umbrella," is what Chloe always said. Chloe was an orphan, raised by an abusive aunt, and had been suffering from depression since she was a little girl. I was the one who stayed by her side, who did everything in my power to pull her out of that darkness. Now, she was vibrant, confident, and arrogant, all thanks to me. But this princess I'd saved never had eyes for me, only for Leo. In my past life, just to keep Chloe from getting mad, I agreed to help Leo. I poured my money and energy into it, like an idiot holding an umbrella for the two of them. They were laughing and enjoying their perfect life underneath it, while I was left standing in the pouring rain, completely soaked. In the end, Leo overcame his depression and got into a top-tier university with Chloe. Meanwhile, the constant stress triggered my family's hereditary mental illness. My grades plummeted, and I had to be committed to a psychiatric hospital. I'll never forget the sight of my mother on her knees, begging Chloe to just be a little kinder to me, hoping it would bring me back to reality. But Chloe's only response was, "He's the one who loves me. I don't love him. Stop trying to guilt-trip me, okay?" My mother had the same hereditary condition, and the stress of it all caused her to relapse. She ended up taking her own life in the hospital. As for me, I was lost in a fog of insanity day and night, until I eventually wasted away and died. My fists clenched so tight my knuckles turned white. All the memories flooded back, my jaw trembling uncontrollably as I stared at the damn couple in front of me. A hatred so deep it felt like it was in my bones roared to life. The past exploded in my mind. "You're asking me if I'll help Leo? Get lost." The vicious words tore from my throat, my eyes bloodshot as I teetered on the edge of losing control. Chloe jumped, her delicate face a mask of shock that quickly twisted into fury. "Did you just swear at me?" Maybe my years of unconditional devotion had made her lose all sense of reality. She couldn't believe I would ever talk to her like that. "Yeah, I did." My voice grew even harsher. "A piece of trash like you deserves it." Chloe froze again. The boy next to her, Leo, lifted his head, a flicker of annoyance crossing his perpetually gloomy face. "Ethan, you don't have to help me, but don't you dare insult Chloe." Hearing that, I rounded on Leo. "Who the hell do you think you are, lecturing me? You want money? Get on your knees and beg for it." I hated Leo just as much, because he was another ungrateful bastard. In my past life, he took my money while talking trash about me behind my back, claiming I looked down on him and used my wealth to belittle him. After he got into that top university, he even came back just to rub it in my face. An animal like that deserves to be miserable for the rest of his life. "Ethan, you're insane. You're talking absolute garbage. You think you're so special just because you have some money?" Chloe snapped back to reality, pointing a finger at me, her face flushed with anger. "Let me tell you something. Leo's family is poor, his father is sick in bed, and he gets bullied at school. You have no right to talk to him like that." Her words made me see red. "Oh, really? If he's so pathetic, maybe he'd be better off dead." Chloe was shaking with rage, and she screamed, "Ethan, you're not even human. I'm giving you one last chance. Are you going to help Leo or not? If you don't, then stay away from me forever. We're done." She was pulling her usual manipulative crap. It worked on me in my past life because I had invested so much in her. She was my first love, and I couldn't bear the thought of losing her. But in this new life, my head is clear. And my mother's suicide was the brutal wake-up call I needed. A toxic person like Chloe doesn't deserve an ounce of my love. Ha ha ha, that's hilarious. I'd rather get a dog than ever support you again. At least a dog would be grateful. You're worse than a dog. My words hit Chloe like a punch to the gut. She couldn't believe what she was hearing, and her shock quickly turned to pure rage. She opened her Louis Vuitton bag, pulled out a debit card, and threw it at me. Fine, take your card, and don't you ever think about coming near me again. You brought this on yourself. It was a joint account, or at least that's what I called it. Chloe never corrected me because it was always full of the money she needed. I'd deposit at least $1,000 in there for her every month, which was a ton for a high school student. That's why she was always dressed in the latest fashions with designer bags and shoes. Everyone at school thought she was some rich heiress. I caught the card and gave her a brilliant smile. I bought that bag and those shoes for you too. I'll take them back. Chloe, blinded by rage, froze for a second. I could see a hint of smugness and anticipation in her eyes. She was so sure I was going to back down, just waiting for me to come crawling back to her. Fine, fine, fine. Chloe shoved the bag at me, kicked off her shoes, and stormed off, dragging Leo with her. I kicked her stupid shoes straight into the nearest trash can. As for the bag, it was brand new. I figured my mom could use it for grocery shopping. Chloe glanced back from a distance, and when she saw me kick her shoes into the trash, her face turned beet red with fury. She turned on her heel and stomped away, clenching her jaw. I looked up at the clear blue sky. Once the anger subsided, it was replaced by an overwhelming wave of guilt and sorrow. I had been so pathetic in my past life, and it had gotten my own mother killed. I checked the date. It was my mom's birthday. In all these years, it was the first time the weight of those words truly hit me. My eyes welled up, and tears started to fall. I immediately ran off campus and went to a high-end jewelry store downtown, where I bought a bracelet for over $4,000. It wasn't that my family couldn't afford it. We had plenty of money, but I had never once bought my mom a real gift, and I had to change that. Afterwards, I bought a beautiful bouquet of carnations. I used to only ever buy roses for Chloe, which seems so stupid now. A mother's carnations are the only flowers that never end up in the trash. With the gifts in hand, I headed back to school for my afternoon classes, making it just in time. When my classmates saw me walk in holding the flowers and the jewelry box, the whole room erupted. Ethan, more gifts for Chloe? You're so romantic, man. I don't get it. What kind of spell does Chloe have him under? Amid the teasing, I could hear a few people who felt sorry for me. Everyone knew I was a total simp for Chloe, and she treated me like one. From her seat in the front row, Chloe lifted her chin and let out a smug little laugh. She clearly thought the gifts were for her. Another apology from her doormat. Chloe tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and said loudly, for everyone to hear, "I'm really not worthy of your gifts." She was trying to humiliate me in front of the whole class as punishment, her classic move. In the past, I would have swallowed my pride and immediately started apologizing. The entire class went quiet, sensing that something was off. I scowled and shot Chloe a cold look. "Are you an idiot? These are carnations. They're for my mom. Of course they're not for you." Chloe froze again, her face turning pale. A few of my friends in the class yelled out, "That's right, Ethan, mom's first." Unable to handle the humiliation, Chloe stood up and stormed out of the classroom. When I got back to my desk, I had an iMessage from her. "Ethan, it looks like you're dead set on forcing me to leave Leo. But I'm telling you, I've been through the storm, and I have to be his umbrella. I know you love me and you're just playing hard to get, but no matter what games you play, I will never leave Leo. He needs me. He can't live without me." I had to laugh. Chloe actually thought I was playing hard to get. I couldn't really blame her. I used to be such a pushover that no matter how mad I got, I'd always be the one to apologize. She just assumed this time would be no different, that I'd always be her pathetic little dog. I replied with a single word, "Idiot." Then I blocked her number. That was something I never would have done before. She was always the one blocking me over and over again. The slightest thing would set her off, and I'd have to pathetically apologize and buy her gifts just to get unblocked. I had to admit, being the one to hit block felt pretty damn good. After school, I rushed home excited. Mom was in the kitchen wearing her apron and cooking. I could see the worry on her tired face. Clearly, she was worried about me. "Ethan, you're still so young, you don't understand what love really is. You need to focus on your studies. Getting into a good university is so important for your future. But because of that Chloe girl, you've been in a daze, letting your grades slip, and you won't listen to anything I say." My mom's past words of concern echoed in my ears, and my eyes started to sting. Seeing her busy in the kitchen, I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I ran over to her and cried out, "Mom!" She turned around, her face instantly breaking into a smile. "Oh, Ethan, you're home. I'm making your favorite beef
It's
stew
actually
tonight.
funny. So
I fought
last
back
week
the
we had
tears and
amazing
handed
weather,
her
and
the
then the
gifts.
weekend came and we had
Mom,
rain,
happy
rain,
birthday.
rain, rain, rain.
My mom froze,
And then once
looking
it
at
hit
me in
Monday, the weather
disbelief.
became
Are
good
these
again. For
for
the
me?
whole weekend
Yeah,
has been like
for the
this.
best mom in the
We get
world.
like
I
15,
pulled her into a
16,
tight
17
hug.
degrees,
She was a
which
full
is
head shorter
unusually
than me
warm for this
now,
time of
but
year.
in my eyes, she was the greatest
I
person
decided to take
alive.
the day off
My
from
mom's
work
eyes
today,
got
so
misty, and
I
she
could poop
glanced
out a
behind
little
me.
stream.
You didn't bring Chloe home with you
That's where we
today?
are.
It was Friday, and I usually brought Chloe over for the weekend. She loved staying at our house because it was big and had a huge bathtub she liked to
Well,
soak
but
in.
it's a whole
She'd
crane
always take
structure that
pictures
is
to post
inside
on her
of it. You can
Facebook,
actually
but
look,
I was never in any of them. My mom had been
very
around
close
Chloe
to
enough to
it
see her
now.
true
There you
colors
go.
and had tried to warn me away from her many times, but I always argued back. Mom, Chloe
see the
isn't welcome
whole,
in our house anymore. She's not
crane
fit to even
structure.
be in the
This is a
same room as
general
you.
cargo
From now
ship. It's
on, I'm going to
classified
listen
as
to you.
interesting.
I'm going to study hard, get into a top university, and make you proud. That way, our family will have both money and brains. My
You see the
family made
massive
their money in
spindles with
business, catching the right
cables.
wave at the right time, but we didn't have any college graduates. Me getting into a good university was a huge deal for them. It was their biggest dream. My mom was ecstatic. It wasn't that she was obsessed with me getting into a top school.
Very
She
unique
was just
ship.
terrified that Chloe was going to ruin my
I think
life.
we've seen it
Good,
before,
that's
though, this
wonderful.
one.
It's not that I don't want you to date, Ethan. I just want you to be with the
Yeah,
right
we have a
person.
scene
Her words
coming up.
filled me
It's
with
an
even more
additional
regret.
scene.
If only I had listened to her sooner, I wouldn't have ended
no,
up
it's the
wasting
first time we
away
saw
in that
similar ship
psychiatric
then.
hospital. Thinking about my time in the
remember you've
hospital
seen
in
this
my
type of
past
ship
life,
before.
the image of a nurse came to mind. Her name was
Hey,
Sophia,
Zombie.
and she was assigned to me. During one of my rare moments of clarity, I realized she was actually a classmate of mine from high school.
Oh, you
And
mean
in
the
2
sea
days, she was
platforms,
scheduled
babe.
to
Yeah,
transfer
yeah.
into my class. She came from a
ones that
poor
are parked
family
here on
and
the
was
other
always
side of the
shy and
river.
withdrawn, practically invisible in class, so I'd never really noticed her. It was only when we met again in the hospital that she opened up to me. Ethan, I took this job to be near you. Back in school, everyone used to pick on me, but you were the only one
That
who
is
ever
so
stood up for
amazing.
me. You even
Love it.
gave me lunch money once. You probably don't even remember, but I never forgot. I wanted to tell you for so long that Chloe was bad news,
what the
but I was too
temperature
scared.
feels
You were
like.
so in love with her. As she told me this, all I
Feels
could do
like
was smile
11.
like an
No, it
idiot,
feels like
because
9.
by then,
Yeah.
I had already
Supposed
lost
to
my
warm up
mind.
even more
Maybe
today.
Sophia was the right one all
Talking
along.
highs up
I
to
spent the rest of the
17
day
Celsius
celebrating
today.
with my mom,
17
and I
degrees.
even ordered a cake. When evening came, I called my dad and forced him to come home. He's a total workaholic and had completely forgotten her birthday. I threatened him, if you don't come home for
Structure on
mom's
there are
birthday,
so
I'm not
cool.
taking over the family business. I'll go work some dead-end factory job instead. My dad was annoyed, but he laughed. All right, you little punk, making fun of your old man, huh? Just wait, I'm on my way back now. Our family had dinner together,
Like a little
full
rope
of laughter
dangling
and
there,
happiness.
or cable.
Nothing
Look
in
at
the
that.
world could have been better. That weekend, I decided to change my own life. I got a new haircut
has a
and bought
news
new
on the
clothes and
end, too, no?
shoes, shedding my old, pathetic simp persona. I now had 2 goals: get into a top-tier university, and don't let Sophia down. As for Chloe, who gives a damn? To
Yeah,
hell
there's
with
one of
her.
those ships that
On
comes in
Monday, when I
almost
walked
every
into
weekend, I
class,
think,
my
or
friends in the
at
back
least
immediately
every
started
few
shouting,
weekends
"Damn,
to the port
Ethan,
here, it has
nice
like this
haircut.
massive
You're
crane on
looking
it as well.
sharp." I just smiled,
Also used for
ignored Chloe in the
building,
front
wind
row,
turbines.
and went to my desk. Chloe ignored me too, her expression calm,
Oh yeah, I
as
know,
if we were
Jacob.
really
I'm
strangers
very well
now.
aware that the
But
weather
I
can
saw
still
her
take a turn
eyelashes
for the
flutter,
worst. I'm
a
just trying to
sign
be
that she wasn't
optimistic,
as
and I hope
composed
the
as she
winter
seemed.
weather is
She was
gone.
stubbornly convinced I was just playing
Hopefully we'll
hard to
be able
get,
to do
waiting
that
for
at
me
least
to
1
come
week
crawling
soon
back.
from
I
now
didn't
on,
give her
but
the
we'll
time
see.
of day. Instead, I watched the door, a knot of nervousness in my stomach. Sophia was about to arrive. Sure enough, our homeroom teacher soon walked in with a slender girl. She had long hair, wore simple clothes,
Yeah, it could be the
and had a
same one.
nervous look on her face. Her
Although I
shoes
think
were
the
so
one
old
that
they'd
I
faded
talk
to
about
gray.
usually works
This was
in front of the
Sophia.
coastline
She was
here,
actually
the
very
Seaway
pretty,
Fence.
but she was so insecure and withdrawn, always looking at the ground, that you'd barely notice her. After a brief introduction, the teacher asked, "We have 3 empty seats. Who would like to be Sophia's desk mate?" There was one next to me, one next to a girl by the window, and another in the very back row. In my past life, I only had eyes for Chloe, so I didn't even notice Sophia. The girl by the window looked down on Sophia for being poor. The guy in the back was willing, but Sophia was so petite she wouldn't have been able to see the board from back there. I vaguely remembered that the teacher ended up putting her next to the window girl, who rolled her eyes while Sophia apologized profusely and the rest of the class snickered. This time, I watched Sophia nervously
And then
twisting
she
her
goes.
fingers,
Like
and
a
I
pointing
immediately raised
camera,
my
I
hand.
think,
"Teacher,
towards the
she can
lots,
sit
but
with
you
me."
probably
The whole
won't
class
see much,
gasped
but
and
we can give it
stared.
a try.
Even Chloe couldn't maintain her composure.
Yeah,
Her
we're just
eyes were
too
locked
low.
on me. Sophia
But there
looked
is an
both shocked and
interesting
relieved,
note. Yeah,
letting
behind
out
the
a
grass,
quiet
there's an
sigh.
interesting
Someone
ship.
had finally
see
accepted
it come
her.
out in a
Just
little
as
bit,
I'd
I
hoped,
think.
Sophia became my desk mate. I caught her stealing glances at me a few times. When class ended, she pulled out a small pack of crackers and offered them to me. "Ethan, would you like some?" "It's no problem. You don't have to thank me." "I want to. You're a kind person." She placed the crackers in my hand and then shyly looked away. I started eating the crackers. They tasted a little stale, but I ate them happily. Just then, a note from Chloe landed on my desk. I opened it. "Ethan, you're so childish. How dare you block me? You're the one throwing away your chance. I was going to give you an opportunity to apologize once I cooled down, but instead you're hitting on some country bumpkin just to spite me. Fine, have fun with your little hick. You've lost any chance of ever getting me back." Her words were a cold mix of arrogance and cruelty. I tossed the note in the trash, opened my English workbook, and turned to Sophia. "Hey Sophia, can you help me with this problem?" Sophia's family didn't have much money, but she was a brilliant student, especially in English, which was my worst subject. With her help, I felt much more confident about my chances of getting into a top-tier school. Her face lit up. "Of course, let me see. Okay, so you start here." We leaned closer together over the book. I could feel Chloe's eyes on us from the front row, but who cared? In just a couple of weeks, Sophia and I became close friends who could talk about anything. She was so genuine, with two little dimples when she smiled, and her long, dark hair was always neat and clean. If she weren't so insecure and always looking down, everyone would see she was a stunningly beautiful girl. I wanted to help her build her confidence, so that weekend, I decided to take her somewhere fancy. It's true what they say, kids who grow up in the city are often more confident because they're used to being in all sorts of places. If you've never even been to a nice restaurant, it's hard not to feel intimidated. I took Sophia to the most expensive steakhouse in downtown Chicago. She just stood at the entrance, completely stunned and too scared to go inside. "Ethan, this place looks way too expensive. We shouldn't go in," she whispered. She looked like she wanted to pull me away but was too shy to grab my arm. I smiled at her. "You've been tutoring me in English this whole time. My shot at getting into an Ivy League school is all thanks to you. The least I can do is buy you a steak. Besides, I have a coupon for half off, so it'll only be like $20. She'd never been to a place like this, so she naively believed me. $20 is still a lot. How about I treat you to some takeout from that Thai place instead? It's really good." Even though she believed me, she was still hesitant to spend the money. I held back a laugh and gently pulled her inside. We got a table by the window, and when the steaks arrived, Sophia just stared at her knife and fork, completely flustered. "How do you even use these? A fork is so much easier." I asked the waiter to bring us another set of forks, and Sophia finally relaxed, eating her steak with just the fork. I actually prefer to eat it that way too, cutting it all up first and then just using the fork. It's way more efficient. I never would have dared to do that before. The first time I brought Chloe here, she refused to use just a fork, saying it was embarrassing. When I tried, she blew up at me. "Ethan, what kind of rich kid are you? Eating steak like that, are you crazy? It's so trashy." She was always yelling at me like that, even in public. I had to go back to using the knife just to calm her down. Now, as Sophia and I both ate with our forks, she leaned in and whispered, "Ethan, am I embarrassing you?" I just laughed. "I'm doing the same thing. What's there to be embarrassed about? You should do whatever makes you comfortable. If you wanted to, you could fill up a thermos with soda from the fountain and I wouldn't care." She giggled, her face flushing a little as she went back to her food. Just then, I caught a movement out of the corner of my eye and saw someone staring at us through the window. I turned, and my expression hardened. It was Chloe and Leo. They were holding a thick stack of flyers, obviously working a job handing them out. My eyes met Chloe's. Her face was a mask of resentment and disbelief. Leo just stood there with his head slightly bowed, doing his usual moody bastard routine. Sophia saw them too and immediately tensed up. She always seemed to feel small and insecure whenever Chloe was around. I turned my attention back to Sophia. "Don't worry about them. Let's just enjoy our meal." Sophia looked a little confused, but she nodded and did as I said. Chloe just stood there outside the window, fuming. It was a hot day, and I could see the sweat on her forehead. Her face flushed from the heat. When Sophia and I left the restaurant, Chloe marched right up to us, her eyes fixed on me. "Ethan, what is this? The whole class knows I'm working here. Did you bring her here just to rub it in my face? How could you be so petty?" Chloe was seething, but I just looked at her coldly. "Chloe, you think the world revolves around you. I don't care if you're handing out flyers here. You could be running a power plant on this corner for all I care. I'd still come here for a steak. Fine. You must be so proud of yourself, right? Seeing me having to work a crappy part-time job because I'm broke. Do you feel like you've won?" She spat. Her voice was grating on my ears. So loud. "Get lost. You're just barking like a stray
What's up,
dog.
growth farmer?
I took Sophia, who looked a little scared, by the hand and led her away. I still planned on taking her shopping. Ethan, you're cruel, but I'll say it again. If you won't help Leo, then no matter what games you play, I'm never coming back to you. I'd rather struggle and suffer with him than leave his side. Keep this up, and you'll lose me forever. Chloe shouted after us.
No, so
I
basically
couldn't help
how
but laugh.
leasing cars
You don't
here in
have to
Belgium
suffer.
work is that
Why don't you go eat crap
you
in the
get something
toilet
called
and
a
take
fuel
Leo with
card.
you?
If you
Look at
have
him.
a,
He's
when it
so
was still
skinny.
fuel,
He looks like he
so
hasn't
then you
had
can
a
go to a
decent
gas
meal in
station of a
years.
certain brand
Chloe
and
was
fill up your car there.
unbelievable. I used to be so
When you
pathetic
get an
and
EV,
so
you
in
get
love
an
with her that she became
electrical charging
convinced I
card,
would
so
never
all
leave.
the
In her
expenses
mind,
are paid
everything
by
I
the
was doing
office,
now was just some
not by you.
elaborate trick to win her back.
So if I would
I shook
charge
my
somewhere
head,
else,
wondering how I could have ever been into
then I would
someone
have
like
to pay
that.
for
Sophia
it
was a
myself.
million times better. Thinking of Sophia, I glanced back at her. She was following me quietly, her cheeks flushed. I asked her, curious, Sophia, why are you blushing? She looked up at me slightly and gave my hand a gentle squeeze. The soft warmth spread through my palm, and that's when I
But they did
realized we'd been
install a
holding
charger at
hands
my
the
house,
entire time.
so
Sophia's
that's nice.
face turned an even deeper shade of red. My first instinct was to let go, but instead, I found myself holding her hand even tighter. A strange warmth spread through my chest, especially seeing her shyly look
Then you will
down.
have to,
Was
like,
this what it felt
foresee
like to have
time
a
to
crush?
charge and where to
Honestly,
charge.
I hadn't known Sophia for very long, so I couldn't call it love yet. I was being nice to her because I knew how much she had done for me in my past life. I had helped her, sure, but it was just a small, thoughtless gesture that I'd completely forgotten about. She, on the other hand, never forgot and developed feelings
Yeah,
for
of
me.
course I
When I
can
lost
charge
my
anywhere I
mind,
want, but
she chose to become a nurse just to
I wanna
take care
charge
of
when
me.
it's free
What guy
for
wouldn't be
you.
moved
You don't
by
have to
that?
pay extra.
Now, it wasn't just gratitude I felt. It was affection. She was so beautiful and kind. I must have been blind in my past life to have never noticed her. You know, Sophia, whenever you blush, my heart starts beating faster.
Looks like,
I
this
wonder
one
why
there,
that
it's
is. I
exhaust
teased,
scrubber
a smile
with that
playing
blue
on my
coming
lips.
out.
Sophia's face turned even redder. She turned away and tucked her hair
Hey,
behind
now
her
the
ear.
alerts are working. What the hell?
Ethan, it's getting late. I should get back to the dorm.
What day
She
do you
lived
call
in the
this? I
dorms
call
and
this,
rarely
I'm
went
taking a
home
day
on
off 'cause the
weekends,
weather is amazing,
probably to
so
save
it's-
money on the train
Thanks
ticket.
for the prime,
There's no
buddy.
rush. Let's walk around a bit more,
67
maybe
months,
buy a few
holy moly.
things. I insisted,
a long
pulling her
time.
along. I felt an urgent sense of joy. I wanted to take care of her, to see her thrive. They say loving someone is like tending to a flower, and it's true. When you find a
See,
flower you
Gunnar.
love, you can't
That's
just
a name I
stand
haven't
by
seen in
and
a
watch
while.
it wilt. Buy what?
What's up,
Please
buddy?
don't buy anything for me. I don't need anything, Sophia said, worried I was going to waste my money. I didn't listen. I was determined. I told her to try on anything she liked, but how could she? She was terrified just walking into these
Also got nice
expensive
weather.
stores.
Cool.
Ethan, please, let's not
Yeah, I
buy
was talking
anything.
about it earlier,
Everything
so
here is so
last week, you had
expensive.
amazing
We could go
weather.
to the outlet mall in Aurora.
It became
They have much
weekends,
better
the weather
deals.
turned shit. It
Sophia
was raining
whispered, not
Saturday,
even daring to
Sunday,
look at the
all
price
day.
tags. I
And
had
then
to
it turned
suppress a
Monday
laugh,
again, and the weather
I
was
whispered
good again.
back,
It was like
don't
the
worry,
universe was
my
telling
mom
me,
told me to buy you
no
something.
streaming.
She said it's a thank you gift for tutoring me in English.
So I was
Your
like,
mom
let me take
knows
a day
about
off.
me?
There's a
Sophia asked,
mask in the
surprised.
distance.
She looked a little
Yeah.
nervous, but
It's
also
coming
pleased.
towards us.
My mom already loves you. In my past
the
life, my
overlay
mom
for the
really
big
did
ones.
love Sophia.
The pillar
While Sophia was taking
6.
care of me in the hospital, my mom would
That's
talk to
6,
her
that's-
all the time, practically treating her like a daughter-in-law. It's a shame I was such a mess. My insanity triggered my mom's own illness to relapse. Otherwise, Sophia and I might have actually had a chance. Well, you still don't have to buy me such expensive things. I really don't need them, Sophia insisted, shaking her head. I kept teasing her. My mom likes to drop by the school sometimes. She said she wants to meet you. You should probably dress up a
There we go.
little, you know, for meeting the parents. Sophia blushed. Meeting the parents. Shut up. The feelings between a teenage boy and girl can ignite so quickly and burn so
Must see
brightly.
pillar
After a
6,
happy weekend of steak and
280
shopping,
meters,
Sophia
just
and I
over.
had definitely entered that
Capacity of
flirty,
6,000
ambiguous stage.
TEUs.
I felt a kind of excitement with her
Hamburg.
that I hadn't felt in all my years with
Maybe we
Chloe.
saw it on Hamburg
I had
Half
completely
Mile
forgotten
Street.
about Chloe. My world now revolved around Sophia and my goal of getting into a top university to make my family proud. When Sophia found out how much my family wanted me to be the first to get a college degree, she started making a detailed study plan for me.
we last
Ethan,
saw it
your
in
grades are actually
May
really
last
good,
year.
she said.
Been a while.
You're just a little weak in English and literature. Here, follow my plan, and I'll help you. She was wearing the new clothes I'd bought her, with a pretty clip in her hair. She looked so beautiful and confident, nothing like the timid girl who had first transferred here. A lot of the guys in class were starting to sneak glances at her, amazed by the transformation. Chloe was watching too. Maybe because of everything that happened in my past life, I could always feel her eyes on me. She sat in the front row, her gaze sweeping over to us like a hawk. And like a hawk, she was proud, just waiting for me to surrender. At the same time, she started bringing Leo to our classroom. Whenever there was a break or after school, Chloe would have Leo come over so she could tutor him in front of everyone. One of the girls asked her curiously, "Isn't he from the other class? Is he your cousin or something?" "Not my cousin," Chloe announced loudly. "He's my boyfriend." The whole class erupted in murmurs, and all eyes turned to me. I just scoffed, grabbed Sophia's hand, and stood up. "Sophia, let's go get some pizza." "That's too expensive. Let's just get some noodles," Sophia said, genuinely feeling bad about me spending money on her. When she found out the outfit I bought her cost over $300. She was so mad she didn't speak to me for 5 minutes. "All right, noodles sound great too," I said, happily leading her out of the room. My happiness was genuine. It had nothing to do with trying to make Chloe jealous. She didn't matter to me anymore. I loved sitting with Sophia at the food trucks by the Chicago River, eating cheap, delicious food in the breeze. The best part was that she loved it too. Chloe watched us leave the classroom, her face pale. She was gripping her pen so tightly her knuckles were white. Leo, his hair falling in his face, asked, "Chloe, how do you do this problem? It's so easy. How do you not know this? Were you even paying attention?" Chloe snapped, slamming her pen down on the desk. The class gasped again. I didn't even look back. I just held Sophia's small, soft hand, feeling perfectly content. Time flew by. With Sophia's dedicated help, my English and literature grades shot up. I was already a top 10 student, but after 3 practice exams, I broke into the top 5. Maybe it was the power of love, or maybe it was the power of my mom's love. Either way, I was determined not to let her down in this life. With the SATs just over a month away, Sophia and I kicked our studying into high gear. But then I noticed that Chloe wasn't in school today. The guy who sat behind me leaned forward. "Hey Ethan, I heard your ex-girlfriend couldn't afford lunch money. She fainted from hunger yesterday. She's probably in the hospital." That sounded insane in this day and age. But then I remembered, Chloe was an orphan with an abusive aunt. Before I came along, she was a malnourished, poor kid who never had enough to eat. She was just back where she started. I didn't care. The guy behind me teased, "Man, Ethan, you really know how to move on. And you've got great taste, snagging the prettiest girl in school." I'm so jealous. The prettiest girl he was talking about was Sophia. She was no longer that shy, insecure girl who always looked at the ground. Because I told her she was beautiful every day, she started to hold her head high and would even check herself out in the mirror sometimes. I told her she had a great figure, so she started to dress up more, even wearing cute skirts. A confident, adorable, and beautiful girl had emerged. Her 2 little dimples alone were enough to make my friends act like complete fools. I grinned, and under the desk, I playfully ran my hand along her leg. Sophia shot me a glare and stomped on my foot, but her face was bright red. She was so beautiful. Chloe showed up for class in the afternoon. She looked exhausted and pale, like a ghost. I hadn't paid her any mind in a long time, so I was surprised to see her like this and found myself staring. Just then, she looked up and our eyes met. Instantly, her expression hardened. Her eyes grew cold, and that familiar, arrogant look returned to her face. It was like, in her eyes, I would always be her pathetic little simp. I immediately felt disgusted with myself. What was wrong with me? Why was I even looking at her? I should be looking at my Sophia. But then, another note from Chloe appeared on my desk. "You were looking at me. I knew you couldn't get over me. You feel sorry for me, don't you? Leo and I are having a really hard time. He can't even afford his tuition. We've been living on instant ramen, and it's all your fault. I can't believe you're still being so stubborn after all this time. I'll give you one last chance. Get back to me before the end of the day." I had to laugh again. Her tone was softer this time. She didn't even mention her undying loyalty to Leo, but it was still dripping with that same old arrogance. What a joke. Who the hell did she think she was? Giving me a deadline to apologize. "Chloe, I wouldn't apologize to you if it was the last thing I did on earth." I ripped up the note and went back to studying with Sophia. We were going to get into the Ivy League together. As the final bell approached, I was still deep in study mode with Sophia. Chloe was clearly getting antsy, staring at me nonstop. Her intense gaze started making other students look over at me curiously. I looked up and frowned. What's everyone looking at? I'm not Brad Pitt. Just as I said that, I saw a woman appear in the doorway. She had her hair up in a bun and had a kind, gentle face. My heart leaped. It was my mom. My mom's arrival drew everyone's attention. I nudged Sophia's hand. "Look, it's our mom." Sophia jumped, and seeing my mom looking our way, she got so flustered she didn't know what to do with her hands. She quickly smoothed her collar and fixed her hair, stammering. Your mom is so pretty. Oh my God. What do I do? I'm meeting your mom. I was trying so hard not to laugh. Then, Chloe, in the front row, suddenly stood up and walked towards my mom with a huge smile. Mrs. Miller, what are you doing here? It's been so long. Chloe was practically beaming. This was a side of her I'd never seen before. She had me so completely under her thumb that she acted like a princess, barely showing my mom any respect at all. My mom looked at her, a little surprised and thoughtful. She knew I had broken up with Chloe, and I'd even told her I had a new girlfriend. Just then, the bell rang. I grabbed Sophia's hand and we hurried out to meet her. My mom's face lit up when she saw us, and her bright eyes were fixed on Sophia. Sophia was a nervous wreck. Her hand in mine was sweaty, her face was flushed, and she couldn't hide the shyness in her eyes. So this must be the Sophia you're always telling me about? My mom asked, a warm smile on her face. I nodded eagerly. Sophia practically bowed. Hello, Mrs. Miller. It's so nice to meet you. You're so beautiful. My mom managed not to laugh out loud. Oh, I'm an old woman. You're the beautiful one. My son wouldn't be studying so hard if it weren't for you, so thank you. I hadn't actually told my mom that much about Sophia, but a mother knows her son. She'd seen how much I changed lately, how happy I was, and she'd already figured out Sophia was the reason. I should be thanking Ethan, Sophia said. He's changed my life. If it weren't for him, She trailed off, but I knew what she meant. My mom nodded thoughtfully. Well, it's wonderful that you've been good for each other. Come on, let me take you both out to dinner. Sophia quickly interjected. Mrs. Miller, please, let me treat you. My mom didn't refuse, just smiled and agreed. I blinked and whispered to Sophia, do you have any money? She whispered back, I have a credit card. The limit is $300. That should be enough, right? I almost burst out laughing, but I was also incredibly touched. What a sweet, silly girl. I couldn't help but think back to the first time Chloe met my mom. The moment she stepped into our house, she pulled out her phone and started snapping pictures of everything. She gave my mom a fake smile and a quick hello, but her eyes were darting all over the place, and she had zero interest in having a conversation. I'd even told her to bring a small gift, like some fruit, just as a nice gesture, but she refused, saying it was too much trouble. At the time, I thought she was just young and immature, but looking back, it's clear she just didn't respect me, so she didn't respect my mom either. And here was Sophia, willing to use her emergency credit card just to treat my mom to dinner. She'd always been scared to even use it, worried about the interest. She was so endearingly silly. I squeezed Sophia's hand, never wanting to let go. Chloe stood nearby, watching us go. Her lips trembled as if she wanted to say something but couldn't. It seemed like she was finally starting to realize that I was truly over her. We all had a wonderful dinner. In the end, Sophia insisted on paying with her credit card. The bill was over $200. Thank goodness the card worked. I would have died of embarrassment, Sophia whispered to me, letting out a sigh of relief, her face still flushed. I really wanted to laugh. My mom, who misses nothing, just gave me an approving look. She knew I had finally found the right person. It's so simple what a guy looks for in a partner. But so many women just don't get it. After I saw my mom off, Sophia and I headed back to campus for our evening study hall. As soon as we walked through the school gates, we ran into Chloe. Her face was pale, and her expression was a strange mix of arrogance and frustration. She glanced at Sophia and said coldly, Sophia, the teacher is looking for you. You should go. Sophia paused, but instead of leaving, she just squeezed my hand tighter. I don't believe you. Her response left Chloe speechless. I patted the back of Sophia's hand. Why don't you head back to class first? She hesitated for a moment, then nodded and went ahead. Chloe took a deep breath, her eyes locked on mine. Her voice was hoarse. Ethan, are you really in love with that little country bumpkin? I laughed mockingly. You should take a look in the mirror. It's pretty obvious who the real hick is. Chloe looked drained, her complexion was awful, and the clothes that used to be brand new were now looking worn. Without my money, she couldn't afford to buy new outfits every month like she used to. She was just another poor kid now. Why are you doing this to me? You're supposed to be taking care of me. What right do you have to take care of Sophia? Does she even deserve it? Chloe was starting to lose it. You've got it all wrong, I said with a smile. I'm not the one taking care of Sophia. She's the one taking care of me. And I meant it. Taking care of someone isn't just about money. In my past life, when I was lost in madness, Sophia's love for me was what kept her by my side, caring for me until the very end. In this life, as I try to repay that kindness, she gives back to me in countless small ways, making me breakfast, creating study plans for me. When you care for a flower and it blooms, that's love. Chloe would never understand that. She was like a Venus flytrap, taking everything and giving nothing back. That's bullshit. You just gave all the money and affection you used to give me to her. You are taking care of her. Her eyes were filled with hatred. I won't accept this. Everything she has should be mine. Give it back. I was genuinely amazed she had the nerve to say that. I said calmly, you really are delusional. I suggest you accept it. You're the great savior. After all, determined to fix Leo no matter the cost. I truly admire that. I wish you two all the best. I waved a dismissive hand and started to walk away. Chloe's lips trembled as she grabbed my arm. Ethan, I only helped Leo out of pity. You know I have depression and he's just like me. His life is so hard. I just couldn't help but want to help him. I yanked my arm away. What does that have to do with me? Get lost. I kept walking. Behind me, Chloe's shoulders were shaking and tears were streaming down her face. Ethan, please don't be like this. Can't you see I was wrong? The words seemed to drain all the energy from her. She stood with her head bowed, her body tense, and I could hear her teeth chattering. No, I said, and walked away without looking back. Behind me, hidden in the shadows, Chloe finally broke down sobbing. I don't believe you can be this cruel. You're just trying to force me to break up with Leo. He really likes me. He says he'd rather die than live without me. Ethan, come back. If you don't, I'll officially become his girlfriend. She was threatening me again, but her words lacked their usual force. Still, that sickening arrogance was there, a faint trace that was enough to make my stomach turn. Chloe, you're pathetic. I ignored Chloe and went back to my desk next to Sophia. She didn't ask any questions. Seeing that everyone else was focused on their books, she quickly leaned over and gave me a kiss on the cheek, then immediately turned back to her textbook, her face bright red, pretending nothing had happened. So cute. How about another one? We could duck down and make it a real French kiss. I whispered, wiggling my eyebrows. Get out of here. Sophia bit her lip to keep from smiling and poked me with her pen. In your dreams, the day of the SATs arrived right on schedule. We all gathered in our homeroom early in the morning, waiting to head to the testing center. Just then, a guy in the back yelled, "Holy crap," holding up his phone. Chloe's something else. She just made it official with Leo. Everyone was confused and pulled out their phones to check Facebook before we had to turn them in. Sure enough, Chloe and Leo had made their relationship official. Leo was kind of a minor celebrity at school. He was handsome in that brooding, tragic way. And Chloe had always been famous, the girl everyone saw as a princess. So the two of them going public was major gossip. Dude, Ethan, your ex is wild, making it official the night before the SATs. Look at the caption, young and in love. No regrets. The picture is of them together, in a hotel room. No way. Did they get a room last night? That's insane. Chloe's not here yet. You think she overslept? Nah. Now that it's official, she'll definitely show up to make a scene. Everyone was buzzing about it. I just thought it was hilarious. What an idiot. I reached for Sophia's hand. She gave me a huge eye roll and looked at me sternly. Don't worry about other people. Just focus on your test today. Yes, ma'am. I cleared my head and focused on the goal, a perfect score. Just then, Chloe walked in. She had put on makeup for the occasion and actually looked pretty good. The moment she entered, all eyes were on her, but she ignored everyone, including me. But then, another note from her landed on my desk. I'm with Leo now. Are you angry? Do you regret it? I chose today specifically. Hope it doesn't distract you during the test. You forced me to do this. I really want to know what's going through your head. Tell me, Ethan, your first love, the girl you loved for all those years, gave herself to another man. Are you angry? Reading it made me sick to my stomach. I wasn't angry, just disgusted. It wasn't just her disgusting actions, but the arrogance that dripped from every word. All those years of my devotion had just fueled her ego. She always looked down on me, like I was nothing more than a pathetic dog at her feet. My face was grim, and I said nothing. Chloe turned to look at me, a smirk on her face. I was about to write back, "You're pathetic," but Sophia suddenly snatched the note from my hand and ripped it to shreds. Then she leaned in close, smiling. "The test is about to start. I'll give you a reward when we're done. What do you want?" Looking at her cute dimples, I couldn't help but smile. A 1-minute French kiss. I loved teasing her. I knew she liked kissing me. She was just too shy to take it any further. "Okay," she whispered, blinking. A blush crept up her cheeks, making her dimples even more adorable. "You can kiss me however you want." My heart soared. For the 2 days of the SATs, I was completely focused. The only things that existed were the test booklet and Sophia. She'd give me a little kiss for good luck before each section, worried I'd be nervous. In reality, she was the one with everything on the line. For her, Getting into an Ivy League school was her only way out, her ticket to a completely new life. For me, with my family's money, getting in would make my parents happy, but failing wouldn't be the end of the world. I told her, I'm not worried about my score. You need to stop worrying about me and focus on yourself. Don't let me be a distraction. I'm not worried either, she said with a smile. I just want you to do well. I stroked her hair. You told me that getting into a good college was the turning point for your whole life. I'm worried that by focusing on me, you'll mess up and let yourself down. She smiled, her dimples appearing. That was before I fell for you. Now you're the turning point in my life. Her words hit me right in the heart. I almost started crying. Sophia, you sweet fool. Finally, the test was over. Sophia and I looked at each other, smiled, and hugged tightly. We had both done well. Barring any surprises, we were going to achieve our dream. When we walked out of the testing center, a black Mercedes was waiting for us. My mom was looking around anxiously, but her face broke into a gentle smile when she saw us. You must be starving.
Hey,
how about some steak to celebrate? My treat. She didn't ask how we did, not wanting to put any pressure on us. But we weren't feeling any pressure. A wonderful life was waiting for us. In the car, I secretly poked Sophia's hand. So, about that French kiss you promised me? You're such a pervert. Your mom is right here. Sophia turned away, her ears bright red. Don't worry, she can't hear us? I whispered, leaning closer. She covered her ears and mumbled, la la la. I can't hear you. Oh, you're impossible, Sophia. I laughed, my heart overflowing with love for her. Thank you for saving me. On the day the SAT scores were released, everyone came back to school for our graduation photos. After this, we'd all be heading off in different directions, and it would be hard to see each other again. The school was buzzing with excitement and nervous energy. Everyone from our class was there. Chloe was sitting in the front row, silently scrolling through her phone. She looked exhausted again, with dark circles under her eyes. It was clear she wasn't doing well. Sophia, next to me, was a bundle of nerves, staring out the window trying to calm herself down. I gently took her hand. Finally, the scores were released. Everyone checked their results. I looked at mine first, 1580. The moment I saw the number, I was ecstatic. It was more than enough to get into Yale, my dream school. It was the best I'd ever done. Next to me, Sophia burst into tears. She threw her arms around me, sobbing uncontrollably. It suddenly dawned on me that she hadn't been nervous about her own score. She'd been nervous about mine. Don't cry, I said, wiping away her tears. Go on, check yours. She smiled through her tears and casually pulled up her score, not looking the least bit nervous anymore. 1590, 10 points higher than me. A huge weight lifted off my chest. I relaxed completely and couldn't stop myself from giving her a kiss. She blushed and rolled her eyes at me. The rest of the class was a mix of emotions. Some were celebrating, some were disappointed, and a few were openly crying. Suddenly, a girl in the front row yelled, 1100? Chloe, what happened? Did you forget to fill in a section? Chloe got an 1100. She used to be one of the top students. In my past life, she was the one who helped Leo improve his grades enough to surpass me and get into a top school. I never would have imagined she'd score so low this time around. Everyone was stunned. People crowded around her desk, not believing it. Chloe just sat there with her head down, her back trembling slightly, her breathing shallow and rapid. She looked like she was in physical pain. You reap what you sow. She'd spent all her time focused on Leo, and her own grades had paid the price. Someone muttered, and Chloe's roommate added, it's so sad. She worked part-time every weekend to make money for Leo's dad's medical bills. Leo completely ruined her. But I thought Chloe was rich. Why would she need to work? Another person asked, confused. Rich? Are you kidding? Ethan was paying for everything. Once he stopped being her doormat, she was broke. Serves her right. And now Ethan's with Sophia. She totally worships him. I'm so jealous. The classroom was filled with chatter. The guy behind me, who had seen our scores, decided to twist the knife. He yelled out, hey everyone, Ethan got a 1580 and Sophia got a 1590. They're both going to Yale. No way, that's incredible. The whole class erupted. Suddenly, Sophia and I were the center of everyone's attention. Chloe flinched. She started to turn and look at me but stopped herself. Then she just got up and ran out of the room, not even staying for the graduation picture. Chloe's absence didn't stop the photos. We took our class picture, and then everyone broke off into smaller groups with their friends. Of course, Sophia and I had to take a couple's picture. She was so shy, blushing as everyone teased us. Right as the camera clicked, I leaned in and kissed her. The whole group went wild, clapping and cheering. Now that was a moment of young love, no regrets. After the pictures, Sophia said she needed to go home for a bit. She'd been working a summer job and staying at my place ever since school let out and hadn't been back to see her family. I'll go with you. It's my turn to meet the parents. Oh, stop it, she said, rolling her eyes. My family lives out in the countryside, and all my relatives are waiting to hear my good news. I should go by myself first. My cousin is already here to pick me up. I nodded and watched as she left with her cousin. The school was still buzzing with activity as I headed back towards the classroom. As I rounded an empty corner in the hallway, I heard a familiar voice up ahead. Leo, you got a 1300, you can get into a decent state school. I got less than 1100. If I go to a local college, the tuition is still thousands of dollars a year. I think I can only afford community college. It was Chloe. Leo didn't sound so gloomy anymore. There was even a hint of excitement in his voice. Yeah, I did way better than I expected. I'm happy with it. Chloe forced a smile. Congratulations. I'm sure your dad will be really proud. Yeah, he is. He's really grateful to you. In fact, he said you should marry me soon. Leo had it all figured out. Why don't you just skip college? A community college degree is useless anyway. You can marry me, move back to my town, and we can start a family. You can also take care of my dad. He can't afford the hospital, so he needs someone with him full-time. Leo's words hit Chloe like a bomb. She was stunned. Marry you now? And not go to school? Yeah, what's the big deal? A woman doesn't need an education. Just marry me and be a good wife and have kids. Once I graduate and get a good job, I'll take care of you, Leo said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Chloe stumbled back a few steps, her face a mixture of shock and fury. Leo, how can you be so shameless? I was the one who pulled you out of your darkest place, and now you're saying this to me. Leo frowned. Don't you love me? Didn't you say it was love at first sight? Why won't you give up school to marry me? Chloe was speechless. Fat tears started to roll down her cheeks. Leo just looked confused. Why are you crying? What's so bad about getting married? I'm not marrying you, Chloe screamed, tears pouring from her eyes. I never should have helped you. How could I have been so stupid? Chloe completely broke down. Wiping away tears, she pointed a trembling finger at Leo. I thought you were the one. I didn't want to be with Ethan because he was so pathetic, so beneath me. But now I realize he wasn't the one with no charm. I was the stupid, worthless one. I took everything he gave me for granted. She was sobbing so hard she could barely stand. Leo, stunned, reached out to steady her, but she shoved him away, losing her own balance and falling to the ground. The pain of the fall was the last straw. She started screaming hysterically. Ethan doesn't want me anymore. He's really gone. It was all your fault, Leo. I must have been blind to ever see anything in you. You're not worth a fraction of what Ethan is. You're poor, selfish, and a chauvinist pig. You deserve to be depressed. You deserve to be bullied. She was shrieking, her tear-soaked hair plastered to her face. She looked pale and completely unhinged. If I had just stayed with Ethan, I wouldn't be broke, and I wouldn't have bombed my exams. I should be the one going to Yale with him, not Sophia. Her words left Leo standing there in stunned silence. Then his shock turned to fury, and he lunged forward, slapping her hard across the face. No wonder you've been so impatient with me lately, always snapping at me. You were just pissed that someone else got Ethan. You bitch. He hit her again, drawing blood. How could you be so two-faced? Well, it's too late for regrets now. You started this, and you're going to finish it. You're going to marry me and take care of my dad. Chloe clutched her bleeding face and screamed, "Get lost," just like she used to scream at me. This only made Leo angrier. He shoved her to the ground and started hitting her, telling me to get lost? You're my wife now. I'll kill you. He was truly vicious. In his mind, she was already his wife, his property to be beaten as he pleased. It was clear now that Leo was a real piece of work. There was a reason he got bullied. Pathetic people always have a hateful side. And the joke was on Chloe, who thought she was saving some tragic, kindred soul. What's going on over there? Is someone crying? A few students came running around the corner. Leo panicked and took off running. Chloe, her face covered in blood, struggled to her feet, leaning against the wall for support, gasping for breath and sobbing. Some students tried to take her to the nurse's office, but she just shook her head. I'd seen enough. I turned and walked towards the stairs. Chloe froze. She had finally seen me. She just stood there, leaning against the wall, shaking uncontrollably. I didn't look back. I just kept walking away. She let out another wail and came stumbling after me, falling at my feet and grabbing onto my legs. Ethan, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I tried to shake her off, but she held on tight. She kept sobbing. Please forgive me.
Little
Can we
tanks
just
on
go
top.
back to how things were? I never slept with
Here it is.
Leo. That Facebook post was just to make you jealous. I never gave myself to him. I'll give myself to you. Tonight, okay? Her words were so shameless that the students nearby just stared in shock. Let go of me, I yelled. Her tears were mixed with the blood running down her face from the cut on her cheek. Ethan, I was
companion.
wrong. I'll do anything you want. I'll give you anything, just come back to me. Please, I know I was wrong. She was desperately apologizing, completely humbled. For the first time, her words were free of that sickening arrogance. I looked down at her and felt absolutely nothing. You only came back because you knew you couldn't survive
Is that
on
a
your own.
shipyard?
I finally
No,
shook
this
her
is the
off and
canal that
walked up
leads
the
to the
stairs.
port of
Behind me,
Ghent that they're
Chloe
all
cried
coming out
until
of.
she passed out. That
There's a bigger
September,
one about to
Sophia
come out
and I walked
in a
onto the
minute.
Yale campus
Well,
hand in
5
hand.
minutes
She
from
was as
now.
happy
You're
as a
doing
lark, pulling
doing a
me all over the
dance.
place to take pictures. I watched her,
So
my
I'm a
heart
bit too
filled with
low
a
'cause
gentle
the
warmth.
embankment
In
here
my
is in
last
front of us, but you
life,
can
she
already
was a
see the
nurse
top
in
of
a
the ship that's
psychiatric
coming.
hospital, and I was her
And then this
patient.
big
In
boy
this
is
life, we were a
gonna go
couple
into
with
the
a bright
locks
future
towards
ahead of
Ghent.
us. Sophia, thank you, I said with a
Of course, we're
smile. She
focusing on the
tilted her
grass.
head. For
No.
what? For being
No.
here with
No
me.
grass.
Hearing my answer,
No.
she blinked and squeezed my arm. What's there to thank me for? I'll always be
Nope.
by your side. We're going to have kids and grow old
Well, we'll
together.
see it in a
Will
minute.
you still French kiss me when we're old? You're such a pervert. The autumn leaves drifted down around us on the campus green. Sophia, flustered and annoyed, with her
Yeah,
adorable
too much
dimples,
big traffic
was the most
today,
beautiful
but
sight
we'll
in the
see what we
world.
can see.
2 months later, I got a text from one of my friends
It's
from
just
high
nice to
school.
be out-
Dude, Ethan,
outside,
your
by the
ex-girlfriend went crazy. She got
Sun is
committed to a
out.
psychiatric hospital. I asked
Life
him
is
what
good.
happened. My friend sighed. You know how Chloe bombed the SATs? She didn't have the money to retake the year, so she was just working odd jobs. Apparently, Leo forcibly dragged her back to his hometown. Her parents are gone, and her aunt doesn't care about her, so no one was looking for her. He tortured her. She was barely human by the end. She finally managed to escape and was found by the police. Leo's in jail now. It was all over the local news back home. Crazy to think that stuff still happens these days. You can never know what people are capable of. I didn't know what to say. I'm not a heartless person, but when I thought about Chloe's true nature, I couldn't feel any sympathy. If I hadn't gotten a second chance, my end would have been even worse than hers. Ethan, what's wrong? Sophia asked, squeezing my arm. I put my phone away and smiled at her. It's nothing. Now, where were we?